This is the perfect sweater for a Netflix binge watch. Just saying. Hi guys, and welcome to another video on my channel. Today it's Thursday, so I wanted to do something experimental as always. And something I really need to talk about is Netflix, because I'm running out of shows to watch. I've always been the kind of type who really is into binge watching shows, because once I started I can't stop. I think there's a fly in my ring light. How did it get in there? Anyway, I don't know how you spent the lockdown, but for me it was like as soon as the pandemic started, as soon as I couldn't work anymore, I was like straight into Netflix. I actually bought a subscription. Now I'm the person who has like 3 or 4 parasites just watching my Netflix with me without paying. But it's my fault because I didn't want them to pay, so my fault. It's hot in Germany, so this is the perfect sweater for a Netflix binge watch. Just saying. So if you have any other Netflix recommendations, you are very welcome to share them in the comments, because I need shows to watch. I really need to. But for today I thought I would share my recommendations with you guys, because I watched pretty much everything and I wanted to share my wisdom. So if you want to skip over my blabbering, I put some timestamps into the description box so you can just skip to the recommendations. Let's get started. Number 10 is Zoo. So Zoo is a TV drama series with science fictional elements. The plot is about Jackson Oz, who is a zoologist. Figures there are animal attacks on humanity, like very weird animal attacks, wild animals, even domesticated animals. Like I think there's an episode about cats. They attack the humans and nobody knows really why. And there's this kind of theory going around, like the animals start to fight back for all the years of vivisection and slavery and farm factory, mass killings, and then all the things we do to animals. So now they start to fight back, and Jackson Oz, the main character of the show, wants to find out how's it all connected. So it's actually a very scientific approach that the show takes, and if you like a good riddle, and if you like a lot of tension, and if you like animals, of course, this is definitely a show you should check out. I think it's got 3 seasons so far, and to be honest, the show loses its track at the end, kind of. But the first 2 seasons especially are very well and very worth watching. Number 9. YouTube doesn't like me swearing, so I'm gonna not read this, but it's like don't with cats, you know what I'm saying, right? This is a true crime documentary, and normally I'm really into this stuff like true crime. It tells the story of the case of Luca Magnotta, which happened I think in 2012, if I remember correctly. And it's very interesting to watch, because back then there was like an internet hunt for this person, this guy Luca, and there were like people joining into Facebook groups trying to figure out who this person was and how they could catch him. And all these people that were like a major very important part of the investigation before actually the police took over this case. So in the show, they're interviewing the people behind these Facebook profiles. And it's so very well orchestrated, because the series builds momentum. You've got a very tension-loaded show. I think it's just a couple of episodes, not very long. What I really love about this show, it's actually going deep into the psychological downside of the media and the internet, and also into the psychology of the actual criminal of Luca. And I love this. I love this so much. I don't like these flat documentaries where they're just like, okay, this is a case, these are the victims and these are the witnesses, and well, now we have the guy, you know. I think we can all very much relate to being exposed on the internet is like a very major thing in the 21st century. So what can go wrong? And people think they're anonymous, trying to bully people on the internet, or trying to, you know, use it as a platform to actually go against the law. And it's interesting to see how it all went down. So if you like this kind of stuff and you're into psychology and into mysteries, then this is perfect. Number 8, The OA. The OA is a mystery drama, an American mystery drama, and has like science fictional, supernatural, and fantasy elements in it. And it's so good. I'm not gonna tell you what OA stands for, because if you want to spoiler yourself, what's the verb to spoiler? Anyway, if you want to find out for yourself, you can just Google it or watch it. Just saying. The main character of the show is Prairie Johnson, who vanished as a kid and came back later as an adult. And she is not talking to the FBI or to her adoptive parents about what happened when she was gone. And also she came back with like mystery scars on her back and with her eyesight, because when she vanished as a child, she was actually blind. As soon as she came back, she started to call herself the UA. And she unites with like 5 other people from a neighborhood who she tells her story about what happened when she vanished and all the years she was gone. What I love about this show is that you have no idea where you're gonna end up, because it starts all with this like mystery crime thing, which is like a case of a missing person, and you just want to know what happened to her, and in the end you look back and just like, how did I end up here? But it's good, it's very good, it's very well orchestrated, and the story is so interesting. And the way the showrunners really mastered storytelling. You just can't stop looking, you just can't stop listening. I think the show has 2 seasons and both seasons are very, very good. The show could have done better in advertising because I wasn't really interested in the UA as I started watching, but it was a good decision. It's extremely fascinating, especially if you're into science fiction and like all these theories of multiverses and other dimensions and stuff like that. But no spoilers. So next on the list is She-Ra. And I know what you're gonna tell me, it's a kids show. I know it's a kids show. I'm talking about the reboot of the in 1985 produced animated show She-Ra, the Princess of Power. The one that I'm talking about is called She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. And yes, it's a child show. Yes, I know it. It's an animated child show. But hear me out. It tells the story of a girl named Dora who joins the rebellion and some other magical princesses to fight against the evil Lord Hordak and his so-called Horde. Dora was actually raised with her best friend Catra as soldiers of the Horde, but as soon as Dora joins the rebellion, she becomes like enemies with her best friend. So it's a story about friendship as well. The show is praised for its diverse cast. Like, I know it's animated, but I'm convinced that every character of this show is at least bisexual. They kind of explore every sexuality and gender identity there is. I don't know how many there are, but it's very, very diverse. And the fact that this is a child show makes it so much more worth watching, because it translates like into very great messages. It's all about friendship and the power of friendship and acceptance and diversity as well, as I said. And it's all very pink and glittery and a bit overwhelming in the beginning. I have to be honest about that. It's usually not my kind of thing, but I've grown into it. I mean, I binge watched the show like in 2 weeks, and it's so good and it's so funny. It's just it holds a special place in my heart. I mean, it's pure and lighthearted, but also touches very heavy topics. And I know it's like all about princesses, but these princesses, they are badass, so watch. Next on the list is La Casa de Papel, or The House of Money. So if you haven't watched La Casa de Papel, it's time. You know, it's a Spanish series and kind of the first one that got international attention. It's very, very good. It was also around 2 heists that play out in Spain, planned by the professor, as he calls himself, the actual genius mastermind behind all of this. And he's kind of uniting all kinds of criminals, hackers and robbers and thieves and very skilled people to join his heist and to be the actual main players on the field, while he's kind of pulling the strings in the background. And the show is told in 2 different aspects. You got the present timeline and you got like flashbacks. And it all starts to reveal like main character motivations and the actual plan very, very slowly. So you constantly get surprised by what the professor does. Usually the local police act a kind of way and the professor reacts, and it's all so genius. It's a very tension-loaded show and lots of guns blazing, drama, fun. What I like about this show is that you don't get to know everything in the beginning. The plan just kind of unfolds and you get to know the plan as it unfolds. Also, the main characters, they have all like kind of code names, which are cities. So you have Tokyo, Rio, Berlin, my love. Don't know much in the beginning and it all unfolds in the end, and you you're constantly blown away. And I would also recommend you to watch the show in Spanish. I watched it in German with my mom, and then in English with my best friend, and then in Spanish with my Spanish friend back in London. And it's nice, actually. It kind of made me want to watch more international shows, like not only American. Now, for example, there's like a German one called Dark, and this is just like German. Meh. Number 5 is Sherlock. So if you haven't watched Sherlock by 2021, it's totally your fault. But it's always worth a rewatch, just saying. So Sherlock tells the story of Sherlock Holmes. Who knew? Playing out like in modern London, so you have modern Sherlock and modern John Watson. Played by Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman, which is so cool. And it's directed by Stephen Moffat and Mark Gatiss. And that basically tells it all, because these two, they're geniuses. British geniuses. And you know, Sherlock has 4 seasons, and it's so different. Just like, if I just say Benedict Cumberbatch, you're gonna know that. Like, his action skills are gold, and I love how the science elements and the drama elements and the mystery elements just play together so well. Every episode is about a different case, but you also got an underlying storyline that just captures you. It just captures you. The show has 4 seasons so far. We all look for a 5th one. The only downside to the show is that it only has 4 seasons, because every season has like 3 episodes, and that's not enough. It's not even funny anymore. Like, we all hope for a 5th season, but the cast is like so extremely unavailable because they all have major projects to do, and sad. Sad, actually. But one can hope. Number 4, Queer Eye. So this is actually a reality TV show, if I'm not wrong. I hope I'm not wrong. Queer Eye might not be for everyone. It's about these 5 gay guys who... I think not all of them are gay. There's these 5 gay guys who like help people transform their lives and their bodies. And it's also a reboot, I think. I'm talking about like the newer Queer Eye, which is on Netflix now. And yeah, there's 5 professionals. One is like 10 Friends, is about all about clothing and style. You got Bob, who's transforming the homes, the architecture. Every episode is about another human being who kind of lost track in their life or has some kind of problems. And these 5 guys who are all like rainbows and sunshine, and they're all so happy, and I love it. I love them. And they come and transform these people's lives. They transform their style, their perception of life, their surroundings, their home. They try to teach them cooking. They spend like a whole week with these people, and at the end of the week there's mostly like a major event, for example like a gala or dinner, or like a coming out to the family even. It's like a feel-good show. Like, every time I'm sad, I'm just watching Queer Eye because I feel better instantly. It's just so happy, and these guys are so... like, you can tell they've been through a lot in their lives, and they still make people smile, and they transform these people's lives for the better. Just so pure and wholesome, and I love it. Moving on to number 3, Avatar. And I'm not talking Avatar like in the movie Avatar, which now kind of has 5 films apparently. I'm talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender. And I know most people know the show already. Most of them watched it on Nickelodeon, or I don't know, when they were little. But I was one of these kids who didn't have cable TV. I didn't watch it. And I didn't know it until last year, until I got a Netflix subscription. It's about Aang, who is like a 12-year-old kid, and he's also the Avatar. So in this world, like, magic is real. You can bend elements. We have like the water benders, the fire benders, the metal benders, and the earth benders. And you have the Avatar. This is like one person who can bend all the elements. His task is to keep the balance between all the different nations. I mean, you got the fire nation, you got the water tribe, you got the earth kingdom, and you got the nomads. The airbenders are like nomads. The cultures are inspired by different Asian cultures, and also the bending moves are kind of inspired by Asian fight moves. God, this sounds bad. What I'm trying to say is it's a children's show, and it's very much about friendship as well. It's about yeah, how to deal with loss and with love and with life, and how to, like, with growing up, because all these children, the main characters, they are all very young, and they all have to go through different things in their life, of course, and also they have like this big mission to save the world, because Aang, which is like a 12-year-old avatar, has to learn all the elements, and there's like this big threat of the Fire Nation who attacks like all the other benders. They want to take over the world basically, and Aang has to stop them. This show is actually very spiritual, because learning to bend all these elements is trying to control every part of your personality. You've got like, you have to be strong and strong-willed and confident to bend earth. You have to be very transformative and adaptive, and you have to like be kind of fluent to manage water. You have to be at peace with your mind and detached from the physical world to manage to bend air. And you have to control your passion and your emotions, all this fury and outrage to manage to bend fire, which is also a very creative element actually, not only is destroying one. And it has like all these kinds of life lessons, which are also spiritual lessons, which is so cool. It has 3 seasons, and the end of the last season, I think they found a very, very good ending. Like, show endings are always very like a critical thing. And if you want like a good show to end well, you have to really put thought into it. And oftentimes the endings are not very well. But in the case of Avatar, it's like a very well picked ending, I think. So number 2 is Gilmore Girls. This is a show I grew up with, and I watched it with my mom all the time, which is funny because the main characters are mother and daughter as well. You've got Lorelai Gilmore and you've got Rory Gilmore, the daughter. And we could really much relate to these characters, which is why the show is so close to my heart as well. I think it's a lot of drama in the show. It's comedy and drama, and it plays in this kind of small city called Stars Hollow. And you've got Lorelai, who is like a very fierce kind of business woman who is also very funny and kind of childlike. She was very young when she got Rory, and she's like a runaway. She has a complicated relationship with her parents, Emily and Richard Gilmore, who are like these very rich people from the town at the other end of the street, Hartford. So she always fought for herself, and she's very humorous and goes through life with a very optimistic kind of understanding. And her daughter Rory is very quiet, a bit shy. She is an A student, and she has like big plans to go to one of these elite colleges, Harvard in the best case. And you follow Rory and Lorelai kind of living their lives and trying to get through all these major and minor conflicts and obstacles. And it's funny. It's a very funny show, and you got a lot of character development actually. I mean, it's like 7 seasons and one not very good 8th one. I can't tell you the amount of friends that I grabbed and pulled them into my universe of Gilmore Girls, and they're now all trapped there and I have to watch the show. I'm sorry for that. So moving on to number 1 on the list, which is, drumrolls please, Doctor Who. So Doctor Who was, until very recently, my absolute favorite show of all time, because it has everything. It has science fictional elements, fantasy elements, it has drama, it has comedy, it has romance, it has mystery, it has like crime, it even has a bit of horror. It's a show for everyone. And it's actually also a reboot, like, because I think in the 1960s they started Doctor Who, and the show was picked up again in 2001, and then they chose Christopher Eccleston as the Doctor. The actors change over the course of years, because the main character, the Doctor, is an alien. And when he dies, he doesn't die exactly, but he transforms, he regenerates into a new kind of appearance. To be honest, I haven't actually figured out if he also gets like a new consciousness, but I guess so. But he still has all the memories from the past regenerations. And what the Doctor does is basically he travels through time and space with his time and space ship, the TARDIS, which stands for Time and Relative Dimensions in Space. TARDIS also has a consciousness, of course. And the Doctor travels with companions. And the companions also change over the course of the seasons. So everyone has got like their favorite doctor and their favorite companion and their favorite season, I guess. And traveling through time and space, they hail people and aliens. They go to the past, they go to the future, they go to different planets, they go to Earth, but like different kinds of Earths, you know? And for me personally, the show really took off with the 4th season when Stephen Moffat took over the show. You remember Stephen Moffat from Sherlock? He's like actually such a good producer, and he managed to flesh out the Doctor really well and create an even more interesting backstory. You have like every episode another thing that happens, of course, but you have an underlying backstory which doesn't change. You still get references from way back in 1960s. Also, you get references for future things that happen. Doctor Who, guys, please watch it. Yeah, so that's it. These are my top 10 Netflix recommendations that you should definitely check out right now. Close YouTube, open Netflix and start watching, because what else are you gonna do, right? It's not like we all have to work. Actually, I have to work in like 50 minutes and I have to go in like 5. Try to finish this off very quickly. If you want to watch more of me and don't miss a video, I usually make stuff about spirituality, also tarot readings as well, and on Thursdays, you know, I just do whatever I want to do. I upload every Thursday, Tuesday and Saturday at 8 AM ECT. I would love it if you hit the like button for me and subscribe to my channel if you don't want to miss out on anything. And also comment down below if you have any other Netflix or, I don't know, Amazon Prime or Disney recommendations for me, because I'm running out of shows to watch, which is bad. And I wish you a wonderful day and goodbye.